What if I told you the struggle you're going through right now might actually mean you're closer than ever to your breakthrough? You might not see it yet, but your life could be standing at the edge of something big, something you've quietly hoped for, maybe even prayed for, without realizing how close it truly is. The endless days of pushing forward, the late nights filled with doubt, the quiet battles you've fought behind closed doors. None of it has been in vain. In fact, those very struggles could be the final stretch before everything begins to shift. The truth is, most people give up not because they're weak, but because they don't recognize how close they are to the finish line. They mistake pressure for failure, resistance for rejection. But what if instead that pressure is a sign of transformation? What if your life is rearranging, not falling apart? Sometimes life whispers before it roars. And if lately you've been feeling different, like the things that used to drain you no longer hold power over you, or that you're strangely calm in the middle of chaos, it might not be random. It might be a signal, a quiet announcement that your breakthrough is not in some distant future, but just around the corner. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 powerful signs that your toughest season is ending and that a new chapter of clarity, peace, and purpose is about to begin. These aren't just motivational lines, they're real markers I've seen in others and lived through myself. If you recognize even just one of them, take it as a nudge from life itself. Don't quit now, you're closer than you think. Let's begin. 1. You feel a sudden burst of motivation. Have you ever woken up one day and just knew something had shifted inside you? Maybe for months or even years you felt stuck. You kept saying you'd start tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. And somehow the fire in you slowly dimmed, buried under stress, fear, and constant distractions. You weren't lazy, you were tired. Life had worn you down. You didn't lack dreams, you just didn't have the energy to chase them. But then one morning, something changed. You couldn't explain it, but you felt different, lighter, sharper, like a switch had been flipped. Suddenly, the excuses didn't matter anymore. The fear that used to hold you back, it no longer made sense. You felt this quiet but powerful urge to move, to do something, anything that would bring you closer to the life you were meant to live. You might start cleaning your space, deleting old things, applying for that job you've been avoiding, or even waking up early with purpose for the first time in a long time. This burst of motivation isn't random. It's a sign, a signal that your breakthrough is near. When your struggles are about to end, life gives you momentum, but it's subtle, not loud, not dramatic. Just a clear push forward if you're willing to take it. I've felt that push myself, and what I've learned is this: you can't wait for perfect conditions. You can't wait until you feel ready. Motivation isn't something you chase, it's something you ride when it comes. So when this moment arrives, don't ignore it. Don't overthink it. Just start. Even a small step is powerful when it comes from deep alignment. And if you've been feeling that inner fire lately, like something inside you is waking up again, don't question it. Trust it. It means you're not broken, you're rising. 2. Things that used to go wrong start flowing smoothly. What if life isn't falling apart, but finally starting to come together? There's something powerful about the moment things begin to work in your favor after a long season of resistance. Maybe you've spent months or years feeling like you're swimming against the current. Nothing seemed to go your way. Every plan crumbled at the last minute. Every opportunity slipped through your fingers. It felt like the world was always saying no, and you started to believe that maybe you just weren't meant to win. But then something shifts. At first, it's subtle. You find a parking spot right when you need it. You catch the green light when you're already running late. A small opportunity comes back around, one you thought was long gone. And while they may seem like little things, they carry a different energy. These small wins start to stack up. Momentum begins to build, and you feel it, not just on the outside, but deep inside. Life no longer feels like a constant uphill battle. It begins to flow, to align, to open. This isn't coincidence. It's not just luck. It's a sign that you're moving out of the storm and into something more stable. Pain isn't eternal. Even the longest winters give way to spring. And sometimes life needs to shake you up before it starts settling into place. When you've done the inner work, when you've grown, learned, and kept going through the case, the world around you starts to reflect that shift. So if lately things have started to fall into place without the usual struggle, don't doubt it. Don't wait for the other shoe to drop. Celebrate it, embrace it, because it means you're no longer stuck in survival mode. You're entering the space where peace begins to outweigh pressure, where your efforts are finally meeting reward. This is the turning point people often miss because they're too used to pain to trust the calm. But trust it, let it guide you. Your life isn't resisting you anymore. It's finally catching up to who you've become. You begin to lose interest in what used to drain you. Have you ever noticed how the things that once drained you suddenly don't matter anymore? There was a time when certain habits, people, or routines held a tight grip on your life. You kept going back to that toxic relationship because it was familiar. You kept scrolling endlessly through your phone, wasting hours on distractions that left you feeling empty. You surrounded yourself with people who only took from you, but you stayed, maybe because you thought you had to, or because you didn't believe you deserved better. But then something shifted. Almost without warning, the things that once hooked your attention begin to lose their power. The same conversations that used to feel entertaining now feel shallow. The habits that once numbed the pain start to feel pointless. Even the drama, the noise, the constant emotional roller coaster, you're just not interested anymore. And here's the beautiful part. You're not forcing yourself to change. You're not trying to cut people off or build a new identity overnight. It's happening naturally because internally, you've already moved on. This is what real transformation looks like. It's not loud or dramatic. It's quiet. It's when your soul evolves before your actions do. You begin to outgrow the spaces that once held you back. You feel less attracted to things that keep you stagnant because deep down you know something better is waiting. Something more aligned with who you're becoming. And yes, this phase can feel strange. You might start to feel distant from the people or routines that once made up your everyday life. You might even question yourself, why don't I enjoy this anymore? But that discomfort, that's growth. That's your old self shedding, like a snake leaving behind its skin. Don't cling to what no longer feels right just because it once felt normal. If you're losing interest in what used to drain you, don't fight it. That's not a loss. It's a breakthrough. It means you're finally making space for what nourishes your soul. Let it happen. Let yourself change. Because the life that matches who you're becoming can't start until you're ready to leave the old one behind. 4, you feel a deep, unexplainable sense of peace. Have you ever felt a strange calm in the middle of chaos, like your soul knows something your mind hasn't figured out yet? It's a quiet shift. Nothing on the outside has really changed. The bills are still there. The problems haven't magically disappeared. Life still feels uncertain, and yet you're not panicking. You're not overthinking every little thing. For the first time in a long time, you're just breathing deeply, fully, as if something inside you finally whispered, "You're gonna be okay." This isn't denial. This isn't false hope. It's clarity. It's your nervous system stepping down from high alert. It's your mind, body, and spirit starting to sync with a truth your external reality hasn't caught up to yet. That the worst is behind you. That something better is on the horizon, even if you can't see it clearly just yet. And here's what I've learned. This kind of peace doesn't come when everything is perfect. It comes when you stop giving your power away to what's outside your control. It comes when you stop reacting to every fear, every doubt, every outcome you can't predict. You start to feel grounded, not because life has changed, but because you have. You've grown. You've endured. You've started trusting something deeper than fear. Think about it. How often do we chase peace in the form of achievements, approval, or guarantees? But what if real peace isn't found out there, but arises from within once we stop fighting what is? If you've been feeling this kind of stillness lately, don't ignore it. That's your soul adjusting to a new reality before it fully arrives. It's the same way the sky softens before sunrise, calm before clarity. So let the calm guide you. Let it remind you that not every season is meant to be survived in chaos. Sometimes the surest sign you're close to your breakthrough is when everything in you gets quiet, not because you've given up, but because finally you've surrendered to peace. And that peace, deep, steady, unshakable, isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of something better. 5. You feel like life is testing you one last time. Just when things start to feel like they're finally falling into place, when you're breathing a little easier, when the fog begins to lift, something hits you out of nowhere. A problem you thought you'd solved comes back. An unexpected obstacle appears. Maybe it's a moment of betrayal, a job falling through, a sudden emotional setback. And you find yourself wondering, why now? Why just when I thought I was getting through this? It feels cruel, it feels unfair, and it can make you question whether you're actually making progress at all. But what if I told you this isn't punishment? It's not the universe turning against you, it's the universe testing you. Because before every breakthrough, there's a final gate you must walk through. And that gate is guarded by the version of you that used to break under pressure. Life wants to know, are you really ready? Are you going to fall into the same patterns? Will you react the way you always have? Or will you rise above it this time? Think of it like the final boss in a game. You've made it through every level, every challenge, and now, here comes the moment that determines whether you're ready for the next chapter. It's not about being perfect, it's about choosing differently than you did before. It's about staying grounded instead of spiraling, about holding on to your inner peace when everything around you is shaking. And that's not easy. But if you can see this test for what it truly is, a rite of passage, not a punishment, you'll gain power over it. So if life feels like it's pushing you to your edge right now, don't give up. Don't go back to who you were. Push through. Because on the other side of this test is the life that's been waiting for you. The life that matches the strength you have built through every setback, every tear, every sleepless night. This final challenge isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal that you're no longer who you used to be. 6. You begin to believe in yourself again. There comes a moment, quiet but undeniable, when you look in the mirror and finally see someone you recognize. Not just someone who's been surviving, but someone who's ready, stronger, wiser, more grounded. For the longest time, you doubted yourself. You questioned every choice, looked to others for approval, and waited for someone, anyone, to tell you that you were enough. And maybe life had knocked you down so many times you started to believe you didn't deserve more. That confidence was for other people. That peace was something you had to earn by suffering first. But then something shifts. You stop asking for permission to be who you are. You stop chasing validation from people who never really understood your worth. You begin to trust your instincts. You listen to your own voice. And slowly the fear that used to cloud every decision begins to fade. This is one of the most powerful signs that your life is changing. Not because everything around you is suddenly easier, but because your relationship with yourself is healing. You're no longer at war with your reflection. You're no longer building a life based on what others expect. You're choosing to believe that you are enough, not when you achieve more, not when you prove yourself, but now as you are. And when that shift happens, everything else begins to move with it. Life responds to your belief in yourself. People treat you differently. Opportunities find you more easily. Not because they weren't there before, but because now you're open to receiving them. You're no longer shrinking to fit into the old versions of you. You're expanding into someone who owns their space. So if lately you've been standing taller, speaking more clearly, or simply feeling a quiet strength in your chest, trust it. That's not arrogance. That's healing. That's you coming back to yourself after being lost in doubt for far too long. You don't need anyone else to believe in you first. You just need to remember that you were never broken, only waiting to see your own light again. 7. The people around you begin to change. One of the clearest signs that your life is shifting is when your relationships start to shift too, and it often begins quietly. Certain people you used to talk to every day suddenly grow distant. The ones who always needed your energy, your attention, your time, stop showing up. Conversations that once felt familiar begin to feel forced. And you might wonder, did I do something wrong? Why do I feel like I'm outgrowing the people I used to feel so close to? But here's the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. You're just not vibrating at the same frequency anymore. As you evolve internally, emotionally, spiritually, the energy you attract and tolerate begins to change. The version of you that once accepted constant negativity, drama, or one-sided relationships is no longer here. And because of that, certain people can no longer stay. They were part of your old chapter, not your next one. It might feel lonely at first. You may question why life seems to be subtracting instead of adding. But subtraction is sometimes the universe's way of clearing space. You're not being abandoned, you're being realigned. And just when you think you're walking this path alone, something surprising happens. New people start to show up. The kind of people who challenge you to grow, who listen, not just talk, who see your light, not just your usefulness. You don't have to chase them. You simply meet them, because now you're finally walking on the same path. I've lived this shift myself, and I can tell you it's uncomfortable but necessary. Some connections are seasonal, and some lessons only reveal themselves when you let go of who you've outgrown. So if you feel relationships fading away, don't fight it. Bless them. Release them. Let them make room for what's coming next. Because the right people will never need to be convinced to stay. And when you start attracting those who match your healed, empowered energy, you'll realize that losing the old was never a loss. It was preparation for something greater. You keep seeing the same signs over and over. Have you ever noticed certain numbers, words, or symbols showing up again and again, so often it feels like more than just coincidence? Maybe you keep seeing 11:11 on the clock, or the word breakthrough keeps popping up in conversations, videos, or random headlines. Maybe someone gives you advice that feels oddly specific to what you're going through, like they're speaking directly to your soul. At first, you might brush it off. It's easy to dismiss these moments as chance, but after a while, you can't ignore it anymore. The pattern is too strong, too precise, and it makes you pause and wonder, is life trying to tell me something? The answer is yes. These repeating signs aren't just random. They're signals, nudges, subtle messages from the universe, or, if you prefer, from your deeper consciousness, reminding you that you're on the right path or that change is near. When you're close to a breakthrough, life often begins to echo the direction you're meant to move in. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And those whispers come through patterns, synchronicities, and small alignments that tug at your attention. I used to ignore these signs too. I thought they were wishful thinking. But over time, I realized they only showed up when I was about to make a major shift, when I was ready to grow, let go, or step into something new. Now, when I notice them, I pause, I listen, I lean in. Because I've learned that when life speaks in patterns, it's not just noise, it's guidance. So if you've been seeing repeating numbers, hearing the same phrases, or feeling like life is trying to tell you something, pay attention. Don't dismiss it. These signs may be guiding you exactly where you need to go. Your job isn't to control the timing, it's to stay aware, to stay open, because the universe doesn't waste its breath. And the more you trust the signs, the faster you'll find yourself exactly where you're meant to be. 9. You begin to feel lighter as you let go of control. There was a time when you tried to control everything. The timing, the outcome, how people saw you, how things should unfold. You believed that if you just worked harder, planned better, or anticipated every possible scenario, you could force life to cooperate. But all it brought was exhaustion, stress, and the constant fear that if you let go for even a moment, everything would fall apart. But then something shifts. You don't give up. You just stop gripping so tightly. You start to realize that peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from trusting the process. You begin to accept that some things are meant to unfold in their own time, in their own way. And instead of pushing constantly, you start allowing, observing, responding with calm instead of reacting with fear. And with that comes an unexpected feeling, lightness. It's like a pressure you didn't even know you were carrying finally lifts. You breathe easier. You sleep deeper. You make decisions not from panic, but from clarity. This doesn't mean you've become passive or indifferent. It means you've matured. You're no longer operating from survival mode. You're walking with quiet confidence, even if the path ahead isn't fully clear. I've felt this shift, and I can tell you it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly as you start to understand that life isn't a puzzle to solve, but a rhythm to move with. And when you move in rhythm with it, you stop drowning in uncertainty. You start flowing with it. So if lately you felt less tense, more present, more at ease with not knowing, it's not because you've lost ambition. It's because you've gained wisdom. Letting go of control isn't weakness. It's strength. The kind that comes from knowing you're doing your part and trusting life to do the rest. That lightness you're feeling, that's the weight of perfectionism falling off your shoulders. That's growth. That's freedom. And it means you're becoming someone who no longer needs control to feel secure, because peace has become your new foundation. 10. You begin to reevaluate what truly matters to you. There comes a quiet turning point when you stop asking, "What should I be chasing?" and start asking, "What actually matters to me?" For much of your life, you may have pursued goals that were loud, impressive, and outwardly validated. Things that looked good on paper, things that made other people proud. Maybe you once worked relentlessly just to prove something, to your parents, your peers, or maybe just to silence your own inner doubt. You checked the boxes, achieved the milestones, and yet something felt off, hollow, unfulfilling. And then one day you pause. You look around and realize you're not interested in running the same race anymore. The trophies don't tempt you like they used to. The praise doesn't land the same. Instead, you feel drawn to something quieter, but deeper. You begin to value presence over performance, purpose over pressure. You start asking yourself, what do I actually want this life to feel like, not just look like? This shift isn't about giving up on ambition. It's about redefining it. You stop measuring success by other people's standards and begin measuring it by your own sense of peace. You begin making choices not to impress, but to align. And when that happens, something profound unfolds. You begin living from your center, not your ego. I've seen this change in people who've burned out chasing the wrong things. I've felt it in my own life too. And it's one of the clearest signs that you're growing, not just older, but wiser. Because maturity isn't about how much you can accumulate. It's about how honestly you can answer the question, is this still meaningful to me? So if lately you've been questioning your goals, your path, your why, don't panic. That's not confusion. That's clarity arriving. That's your inner compass recalibrating, not towards success defined by others, but fulfillment defined by you. This is how a deeper life begins, not with noise, but with honest, uncomfortable, liberating questions, and the courage to answer them truthfully. If you've been experiencing even 1, 2, or maybe all 10 of these signs, take a deep breath and know this. Your struggle is not in vain. Your pain has not gone unnoticed. Everything you've walked through, the silence, the setbacks, the sleepless nights, it's all been preparing you for something deeper, something brighter, something that feels like home, not just on the outside, but on the inside too. This is not just the end of a hard season. It's the beginning of a truer one. You're stepping into a version of yourself that doesn't chase, doesn't perform, doesn't beg to be seen. You're becoming someone who's grounded, intentional, and deeply aligned with what matters most. The weight you've carried is lifting, the chaos is quieting, and the path ahead, while still unknown, is finally beginning to feel possible again. So hold on to your peace. Trust the shifts. Don't be afraid to let go of who you used to be in order to become who you were always meant to be. This is your invitation to rise, not in noise or drama, but in quiet confidence and calm clarity. And if something in this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might be silently holding on, just like you have. Someone who needs the reminder that they're not behind, not broken, not too late. They're just getting ready for their breakthrough. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more daily insights like this. Because your journey doesn't end here. It's only just beginning.